Right. Evening, y'all. How's it? Welcome to another Lockdown Live Chat. As usual, joined with my awesome co-host, the Momentum with all the momentum, Mr. Draconem Media himself, Alec Lyle. How's it going?
Sure, I'm noticing you mentioning a different band every week.
Yep. And we still got quite a few weeks ahead till the end of the year, so lots of puns coming. Stay tuned. Anyway, yeah, I actually realized that we had not actually delved into what we've been doing this last month, and that's dipping into the more new and obscure bands that people may or may not have heard about. With that in mind, we're joined today with, let me get the pronunciation right, Sorgssyken from Durban.
Hey, well done.
Hey, what's up?
You guys might recognize three of the band members here from Imperious Vision. So yeah, once again joined with Blake, Kai, and Bryn. And yeah, this time shaking it up, we got Dylan on vocals. So welcome, Dylan. How's it going?
Not too bad in yourself, guys. It's great to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you guys here also. We don't know a lot about you guys, so let's dive right into it. And I'll ask you, Dylan, this question. How did you meet? How did the band meet? How did you guys come up with this idea of doing a Blackened Folk band, especially out in Durban? So yeah, clue us up.
Sure, jump straight into it, hey?
That's how we roll.
I mean, Blake, Bryn, and Kai are obviously in Imperious, and I've been friends with Kai for a very long time. And as my interest in metal just grew, I eventually tried vocals, and then Bryn sent me a message one day. He was like, dude, what do you think about this? And we kind of just jumped into it, to put it plainly. As for why Black and Death, I think we were all just drawn to something a little bit different. Something a little bit more technical, something that we can really flex.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that things go quite nicely, and I think we all work together quite nicely in it.
We do work quite nicely in the band. We work well together. We're good friends. That's how it works. It's great.
He says that now.
You guys he's on camera, so.
You got to be nice to all the fans and the people out there in the internet land, you know.
In the internet land.
Yeah, exactly.
So my first question, I'm going to direct at you, Bryn.
Yeah.
Sorgssyken literally means the grief sickness, or I guess depression. Who came up with the band name? And it seems more like a depressing, suicidal, black metal band name than Black and Death. So maybe you can give me some sort of history behind the name. Yeah,
look, pretty much Sorgssyken is a concept that I've kind of been working with for, I guess, since more or less like February, March this year. Kind of came up with it. Started writing like a bit of a riff and some stuff with one of my students actually, and I kind of was like, you know what, this actually sounds really, really cool, and I want to turn it into something. And then at first I was kind of like, okay, well, I'll just do like an independent one-man black metal project. And then I thought, you know, it'd be kind of cool to flesh this out a bit, maybe get some other influences in and stuff. And I thought, okay, well, you know, it'll be cool to get Blake and Kai involved because, I mean, you know, they're in Imperious already, and I enjoy working with them. And then, you know, I've known Dylan for a couple of years now as well. He's been a fan of Imperious and obviously knows Kai. And, you know, Kai was talking about Dylan potentially coming in at some point and doing some guest stuff in Imperious. But I was like, okay, well, I'll do a better one. How about Dylan joins us and we do a Black and Death sort of project? And then the name is pretty much, it's Norwegian. And at first, I don't know, you know, it was kind of thinking lyrically and that kind of stuff. It's more sort of towards sort of like you know, the sort of atmospheric, depressive black metal, that kind of stuff, but also with more of an existentialist sort of philosophical side to it. So while the names are all kind of drawn from the Norwegian language and everything, you know, they kind of just serve as a basis from which we discuss various issues, or you know, I guess it's in many ways it's kind of like what we do in Imperius as well, although this is kind of more, for me, a little bit more profound, if you will. And yeah, and also just for me, it's nice just to sort of bring in some influences from, like, you know, your dissections and your mguas. And I'm a huge fan of Kriegsmaschine. In fact, I'm listening to Kriegsmaschine right now in the background. And yeah, and I've got Mario Brothers on the back in the background. But yeah. So, but in all honesty, yeah, that's kind of the story of Sorgssyken. And we released our debut single Hatet in April this year, and then yeah, we're still busy. Yeah, it was March, yeah, and we're still busy recording at the moment. So yeah,
sick. I guess then my next question I can direct to Dylan, sort of, you know, like as the vocalist, and I don't know how much you influence the lyrical themes, or how much of the words you write as the vocalist, but maybe you can unpack that and how, I mean, Bryn's unpacked it a little bit, but maybe you can talk about your influences and black metal influences specifically.
It's ironic because I actually don't listen to that much black metal. I'm more of like a death metal, I guess. But as for lyrics, I think we've got quite an interesting lyric methodology in that we actually all write it together. We literally sit down together and we go through the track all together, and we all, if we have an idea, we'll just say it, and we'll storyboard it together, and we'll get these ideas. And it's actually crazy how through us just spitballing ideas, we get this common thread that we all end up agreeing on, and it all sounds great, in my opinion at least. So I think that it's very difficult to say, like, this is what we're aiming for, this is where we're going with it, because like I said earlier, you know, we're flexing here as much as we can. So it's all sort of okay, well, how can we fit lyrics to these tracks that'll suit the vibe that the track is going for? So I can't exactly say that this is what is influencing us, because each person's input has different influences, but as a whole, it comes together in a really good mixture, in my opinion, that I think we can all agree has some pretty good results. This is actually my first band as well, so I'm the newbie here.
Oh, fresh meat. Oh, he's so
Fresh
untainted.
meat, yeah.
So untainted. Oh, awesome.
Virginal.
Yeah.
The virginal Mr. Dylan Funk. How we shall corrupt him as time progresses.
Well, I guess Dylan did touch on the idea that you guys all bring a lot of different elements into the band, but the one thing that always comes down to almost one set frame of mind has to be the final production. And this question, bringing it back to you, Bryn, again. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there hasn't been a lot heard online, only the single Hatet, which peeps must go check. We'll include that in the link. But I mean, who were your influences in terms of bands going into the production? Because it has a very lo-fi, dissonant type of feel, almost like a Dark Throne or something very cavernous, you know. So who were the bands that were actually influencing you going into the production?
Well, I think for me, you know, just a band that I'd been listening to before and sort of that were kind of influencing me, definitely Dissection. That's a given. Another one was Unanimated, which is a band that it's a band I've only been into for maybe 2 years now. And I just really love their style and what they do with sort of like black metal and death metal. And then also Gates of Ishtar, actually, really, really cool. Sort of again, more sort of towards the death metal spectrum, but again, sort of that bit of that black metal type vibe as well. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. It's sort of like old school sort of stuff. So I was like, well, it'd be cool to bring touches of the modern sort of black metal sound and lyrical themes and stuff, and then kind of integrated with these other bands and kind of use that to inform the writing process and the production. And we don't want it to sound like tech death or brutal death metal. We do want that kind of raw lo-fi black metal sound, where it's intelligible and it's hard hitting, but it's still it has that distinctive sort of classic European black and death metal black metal sort of sound. So yeah.
That cold feel. Well, I guess, let's pull this over through. Let's kind of pull this over through to Kai and keep that going, because you guys actually did and have actually implemented some acoustic guitar into the first single, and I heard a little bit of a preview that has a similar type of vein. So yeah, Kai, like, who made that decision to bring in that layering into the band?
Most of the structure of how the sound was made by Bryn, but I didn't really disagree with any of it. I was like, oh shit, this sounds cool. Remember when he brought some of the first tabs to us? I think Hatet was one of the first ones I heard, and I was like, holy shit, this is cool. I'm in. Son of a bitch, I'm in. But yeah, and then like you said, with the acoustic guitar and all the different layers and stuff. Yeah, all of the songs, well, maybe not all of the songs, but most of the songs are going to have acoustic. I know Bryn and I were chatting a little while ago. We want to do one track that's going to be just acoustic, which is going to be so difficult to record, but it's going to be worth
hearing
it.
of it.
No, we don't need you.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, no, it's really great how layered it is. Like, if you really just sit and like if you sectionalize one of the tracks or anything like that into like little chunks, and you just try and break down like all the melodies and everything that's happening in the background and where it goes to, it's like, so far I found just like recording and like writing these songs and stuff like that is they always seem to feel like a bit of a journey to me. So there's obviously you've only heard the first song, but one of the more recent songs we've done, it's not like a traditional where it's like intro, verse, chorus, whatever. It's not quite like progressive metal where it just goes on this whole long thing. It does have some callbacks and it does have like a main riff and stuff like that. But man, does it take you on a journey, and the guys will know the outro gets me every time. But yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to that as well, guys, in terms of recording acoustic guitars and getting the right sound and the right takes, and obviously just getting chord progressions and everything to coalesce and to sound right, it has been significantly challenging for both Kai and myself. There've been times when we've like recorded passages or like an acoustic passage, and then I'll kind of go and listen to it, and I'll go, shit, man, I can do that better. Or it's it's nearly there. It's like 99% there, but it's just not the right one. So so it's brought a whole nother dimension to the recording process. And of course, I'll sit with Carl, or I'll sit by myself, and you got to be dead quiet, and you got to be very focused, and it's very intense sort of work. I'm kind of like you long for just playing electric guitar. You're like, I just want to play electric and just shred some tremolo stuff, whatever, or do like some crazy leads.
You can't breathe too loud. You can't let your pick scratch the strings in the wrong way.
Exactly. You can't touch the body. None of that stuff.
None of that. You don't like this in like an awkward position just so that you don't make any noise. You can't hit it on the chair or anything like that. And it's got to be. And then you're going to play it like a million times. And by the end, you're like, Jesus Christ, can this be over? I remember there was one night, I don't even think it was acoustic. I think it was electric. Remember, there was one bar. We spent like half an hour on one bar. And by the end, I was like, I never want to play this again. But the song sounds good.
Sick. I'm going to stuff with Lyle's order of questions for a bit because I think we need to take it to Blake for a little bit.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, we need to grow Blake a bit. Yes.
So you may or may not agree with me, but bass is very often underutilized in black metal. It's like the unloved bastard child of black metal, and it's often very low in the mix. But maybe take us through your approach to the band and like your playing style, and also
for sure.
picks versus fingers.
Yeah. So I was always a guitarist. So when I started playing bass, it was kind of just like because there was a free spot and I took it. So I kind of started playing bass from a guitarist perspective. So yeah, that's why I use a pick. I know some people think it's like cheating and stuff, but I don't care. So yeah, with regards to like my approach, I'm kind of in the same boat as what Dylan said, like where I don't really listen to much black metal, but I do have a few like black metal influences. So with the approach, I kind of just went with what I think would sound like dissonance, what I think would sound like dark in a sense. And I know with like the production style, I could sort of, the bass does kind of sit a little more forward in the mix than like most black metal. So that's why there is like a little more, like I wouldn't say technical, but stuff that you wouldn't hear in like traditional black metal stuff. So yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Do you feel that you have to get yourself into a bit of a different headspace when it comes into actually going into the studio and, you know, laying out?
For sure, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like most of the stuff I've recorded is like faster stuff, and the stuff like you don't realize with like slower stuff, you really have to play really clean. You got to be precise. You got to know your stuff. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's definitely shakes things up a little bit.
For sure, yeah.
Sweet. I'm going to bring it back to you, Bryn, because you're credited as drums and guitar. Is this a studio-only project, or do you guys have any plans on bringing it live? And how do you intend on doing that if you're playing two instruments at the same time?
Yes, the $1 million question. You know, could we do it live? We would absolutely love. Yeah, we discussed it many times, and we absolutely would love to do it live. It's definitely something on the cards. I think if we were going to do it, I'd probably take up drumming duties again. But yeah, at this point, it's just going to be a studio project until we can find and we'll need another member who can basically either fill in for Blake on bass, or we'll need someone who can, play guitar or whatever, and play the passages as intended. And then obviously we have to consider, with the acoustic guitars, how we're going to integrate that. Would we, use sort of backing tracks, or would we get people to play it on stage with us? So, it's quite ambitious in that regard. To get it to be a live project, I'd absolutely 100% would love to do it. It's just at this point, it's not exactly feasible at this point for us to do it. But we definitely plan to do some playthroughs and some music videos, and will be bringing out an album next year. So, we'll see where things go. And, if things really head that direction, then yeah, I'm sure we'll be playing live soon enough.
Sick.
Well, okay. Well, I think, maybe last question for you, Bryn, because this has been a bit of a grill tonight for you. It'll be in terms of the drumming. Anybody that follows you on Instagram will see that you've been doing a lot of different double bass and different drumming techniques. Have you had to kind of incorporate new ideas into this compared to Imperious Vision?
Well, yeah, I think there's this misconception that if you don't play stuff that's like above 200 BPM consistently, then you're not particularly fast, or you're not, it's not particularly challenging stuff. But what I do find is that, when you slow things down a little bit and you sort of bring it more towards, the upper mid-tempo stuff, or whatever you want to call it, or fast instead of insanely fast, the space changes and the dynamics change. So, in many regards, the dynamics with Sorgssyken, that's what makes it particularly challenging. In fact, I generally find, for the most part, if you look at Imperious stuff, even slower Imperious stuff, I often find some of the upper mid-tempo or sort of slower fast stuff, I actually often find that to be a little bit more challenging, because you've got to find that sort of sweet spot between accuracy and power, and there's quite a lot that you have to consider there. So definitely with Sorgssyken, we've had to, or I've had to, as a drummer, take quite a different approach. It's been very challenging in many regards, but overall it's been extremely fulfilling and very, very interesting, and it's helped me to develop as a drummer. And I think also just getting into tech death bands, it's a nice way for me to kind of breathe and just sort of flex in a different direction and sort of show off, I wouldn't say my softer side, because I don't have a soft side, even though I have a background that looks like this. But
sure.
Yeah. But in all honesty, it's definitely been quite a challenge. And then compositionally, it's been a lot of fun, very challenging, but definitely something I've enjoyed thoroughly.
Sick, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kai, this one's for you. So Blackened Death is very, very, very different to Imperious Vision, slammy tech death sounds. Maybe take us through your tuning for this band and how your playing is different. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, actually, it's quite a big difference. Just like from the get-go, whether it's acoustic or electric, Sorgssyken is much harder to record. It's not that Imperious isn't difficult, it's just this is that much, it's a much higher level of precision. Imperious can be a little bit, dirtier and more brutal and stuff like that, but this is like much more precise. And then like the difference in tuning is, I think, is quite large. Imperious, we play drop A, and this is good old-fashioned drop D.
Or standard.
Or standard, yeah, drop D or standard. We bounce between the two, but yeah, we're up there in the normal tuning zone. But yeah, definitely more difficult to play. I find that it's definitely more technical from the standpoint of there's a lot more melody, and the melody is very layered, and again, it has to be precise. You can't have like any sort of sloppy playing, because you're definitely going to hear it, because the melody is always at the forefront. And then even, like I said, it's layered in the background, there's other melodies and stuff. So all of it has to be, it's quite a high standard, but definitely I'm enjoying recording it. I'm enjoying playing it. And even just from recording it, it's like, I've said to Brenda quite a few times, is that you really have to put your playing under a microscope. So I think, personally, for me, one of the fastest ways to improve my playing is by recording. And recording something like this is just like max difficulty for me. So yeah, I'm trying to level up quick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you guys are getting there quick, and we're watching. So I guess, yeah, as we kind of start to tie this up like a sausage, so to speak, let's actually kind of head it off to you, Dylan, as we started with you. Might as well try end with you. You've obviously, you're the fresh blood in the scene now. I'm sure you've got a lot of ideas set. As Bryn mentioned, you guys will be actually putting an album out in 2021, which is awesome news. So yeah, what do we have to look forward to in terms of lyrics and what you plan to bring to the table? Like, what can we expect from the band moving forward this next year?
Yeah, the album is going to be definitely next year. It actually originally started out as an EP, and it just grew and grew and grew until suddenly it's an album. We've got, how many tracks in the works now, guys?
Well, you know, I never kiss and tell, really.
Okay, fair enough. We've got a bunch.
No, I'll tell. It's fine. We've probably got about 5 or 6 sort of in the pipeline. 2 of which are pretty much done. A third that is awaiting vocals, and then we've got a couple others that are sort of we're finishing up composition for. But you're kind of looking at about 10, maybe an 11-track album.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're planning.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can guarantee that every track is going to be different. Every track is going to be unique. It's going to be complex. It's going to be beautiful. We've got a few ideas to bring in some very unique concepts, which I haven't heard before, which I'm very keen to explore with. I think each of us definitely see this band as our, I'm going to say experimentation, but it's to see how far we can push ourselves and how great we can make our tracks. So I definitely think that that 2021 is going to be a good year for us, eh? Definitely.
Agreed.
Very excited.
I think you can expect something pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll all be listening, and I guess we got to mention Imperious Vision because you guys actually just put out a video for Paris out on Slam Worldwide. So a little bit of a selfless plug. Like, it is a killer lyric video. It's also one of the most pummeling tracks on the album also. So yeah, with that in mind, the album Empire of Illusion will be reissued via MMD 22nd of December across all the platforms. So all of you guys DMing the guy saying, "Where's the album? It's on Spotify." Just give it a little bit of time, guys. It's coming back.
It'll be back. It will be back.
It'll be back. It'll be a Christmas miracle. I promise you.
Look, I think in closing, Blake, do you have any final thoughts to tie this off for us?
Do it.
Just
it's great to hear from the bassist.
I was thinking about something earlier, and I don't know if you guys knew it, but Dylan actually designed the logo.
Yeah, that's
I just felt like telling you guys. I forgot about
fun
that.
fact.
Yeah, not something that I forgot to tell you. Yeah.
There would have been some critical information at the beginning of this chat, but we have no more time. We are done for another week. Alec, I think we did well this week. How do you think? What do you think?
I think it's sick. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this conversation. It's really cool that you have started like a blackened, atmospheric
thing
metal band, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really
it's been awesome having you guys. It's been really awesome having you guys. And yeah, next week we're gonna keep this trend going with some new band. We've got Truth Decayed, so we're going from Black and Death into some good old thrash. So yeah, join us next week, same time, same place on the interweb. Thanks very much for joining, guys. Check you guys next week.
Better.